As the board nominated me to be the chairman, and they voted 3-0, I didn't get to vote, but looks like I'm the chairman for the meeting. The vice mayor's not here, the mayor's not here, so in their absence, I'm gonna call this special called board meeting to order. If you'll stand and say the pledge of allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Cook, would you say our prayer, please?
Yes. Father God, we're so grateful today that we have a beautiful day to have this meeting, Lord. Let our minds be in you that's also in Christ Jesus. And Lord, guide and direct us in our paths to make these decisions for our town, for growth, prosperity, and love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. This meeting is for the interviewing of potential police chief. We have 3 candidates, and I'm showing that there are 4 board members here: Julie Jones-Coleman, Tammy Porter, Monty Johnson, and myself, and that gives us a quorum. And I believe our first candidate is Tony Williams. And if you'll bring Tony in, I'm gonna turn it over to our moderator, who is you all know her. She was a heck of a basketball player at one time. And our school superintendent, and she will serve as our moderator. And you get the hot seat there, Tony.
All right.
And I'm gonna turn it over to our moderator and let her handle everything that she needs to do.
So good evening to everyone, or maybe good afternoon to everyone, Pastor. I would just want to share with you how the process will work under my jurisdiction. So I will read the questions to you. I can only reread the questions, but I have supplied you with a copy of the question also.
Okay.
I can't elaborate on it or maybe answer if you had like if I said what was today's date, you say is that today's date in 2024, 25. I can't give any specifics on the question. I can repeat the question for you if you like. And the reason being is if somebody else have the same question, if I remember how to give it to you, I've got to remember how to give it back to them just to make sure that the content is not wavered in any way, okay? We'll read the questions. Again, you have a copy of the questions. If you would put Mr. Tony's name at the top of applicants and then put your name at the bottom of the page so we'll know that everyone here vote has been accounted for and collected. Okay, Mr. Williams, if you'll use the sheet, we'll start with question number 1 and we'll go down it. The board cannot comment on your answers. They may look like they're not paying attention, but they're probably writing and taking notes for you, okay? So if you're ready, we'll start.
All right. Okay, I'm Tony Williams. I was born here in Humboldt, Tennessee. Was raised on South 17th. I attended Humboldt schools where I graduated from Humboldt High School. Played football for Humboldt, played baseball. Got my education through the Humboldt City School System. Was very proud of that. After school, went to Jackson State to college for a very short period of time and enlisted in the United States Marine Corps where I served 3 years. After the Marine Corps, I lived a very short time in Virginia, Virginia Beach, Virginia, and then I decided I wanted to be back home, so I returned to Humboldt. Been in Humboldt, this area, ever since. I actually reside in Three-Way at this time. I've been there for, we've been there about 27 years. But I'd go somewhere on vacation, somebody said, where are you from? I'll say Humboldt, because I love Humboldt. Humboldt's where I was born, raised, and grew up. I love this city. I love the people. Care very much about what happens in Humboldt. I think that's a very strong point, that we need a chief that loves this city, that cares for it, that cares for its people. I am been with the police department for 27 years,
And Mr.
almost
Tony,
27 and a
I hate to
half.
interrupt you, but if you'll let me ask that first question,
Okay.
then you can add all of that and then finish answering the first
Okay.
question, okay? So, but thank you for sharing a little bit about yourself because
Okay.
that is part of the first question. So I'll officially start the interview process. Question number 1, tell us a little about yourself by stating your strongest personal attribute and how it will help you in this position as chief.
I've been a police officer in the city of Humboldt for over 27 years. Won't be too many long, it'll be 28 years. During this time, I have served as a patrol officer, sergeant on patrol, K-9 officer. Then I've been in criminal investigation division for almost 15 years. In this position, I'm also GDI, which is General Departmental Instructor. I'm over training for the department. I try to get classes for the officers to go to further their education and make them better at what they do. I believe that's a very strong point, and I really care about our officers. I want all of them to get all the training they possibly can to make them more proficient and better at their profession. I want to see the officers, one of my goals is strive to teach. I think a good leader teaches people to take his place. I think when I was a sergeant, I tried to teach my patrol officers to take over my position as a sergeant. I believe that's one of my strongest attributes. I love training my people. I think that will help me greatly in my position. I think you can talk to any of the guys I work with. I think they all respect me for what I do and the position I hold and what I try to teach them.
Anything else?
I think that'll help greatly. And through my years of training, I've tried to strive to learn and do and go to schools that would help me obtain the position I'm seeking at this time. Also, when I was in private industry, I learned I was a manager and an area supervisor for a large food chain. And at that time, I had to handle budgets. I had to handle hiring of management personnel and things of that nature. So I'm familiar with that. I know how to manage a budget, make a budget, and try to keep a budget in line.
Okay. Board, are we ready for question number 2?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Thomas, question number 2, what are your thoughts and understanding regarding the concept of community policing? How would you adopt these practices in your role as chief of police?
Community policing, that word's been thrown around a lot over the years. Police department cannot operate without and do a job that they need to do without the support of the community. And that's where community policing comes in. You have to develop a partnership with the community. I see that a lot better now than it used to be in the past, but we've got a long way to go, I believe. I see our community demographics changing drastically in the last few years. We have a lot more Hispanic population than we've ever had. So we need to make them a part of the community. We need to welcome them. We need to learn their culture and how to adapt and work with them. I think we need to get out in the community and more. I think such things as a speakers group where our officers go to organizations and talk about their attributes and the things they would like to do. I think that would help a lot. I think us getting involved in the civic clubs. I think the chief needs to be very involved in the civic clubs. You need to be a member of the Rotary, the Lions, whatever's out there so that you can, the Boys and Girls Club, you need to do what you need to do to bring yourself and your department in with the community to get their support. Because without the community support and our day-to-day operations, we can't succeed as a police department. You can never succeed as a police department if you do not have the community support. Because if they don't trust you, you're not going to get any help when something major happens and you need help from the community.
Board, are we ready? Okay. Question number 3, police chiefs are responsible for preparing and operating budgets. What are the dollar amounts of the last operating budget you prepared, and what was the budget savings or shortages at the end of the fiscal year? Elaborate, please.
police chiefs are responsible for preparing the operating budget. In my positions, I've not been privy to what the operating budgets, other than what I read in the newspaper, is. So I'm not aware. I've been told that we are over in certain areas and areas we need to work on. I can say that when I was in private business, my operating budgets always stayed in because we knew where we had to cut and what we had to do to obtain the budgets. Budget savings, that, you know, you need to always try, especially in the city where our income is limited now because of the economy, because of things that are going on in our nation. Y'all as the board have less money that you can give us to operate on. That's understandable. So a lot of this question I can't really answer because I haven't been involved in it. I think we should involve probably the officers a little bit more, make them understand what's going on and the reason that we do things, why we have to limit them on where they can go, what they can do, and the money we may spend on vehicles or repairs or things we want to do within the department. I think it's very important that everybody knows what a budget operates at and why we need to do certain things. So, like I say, I can't say how I could help at this point because I really don't know what the budget is. But I would be glad to work on it and do the best I could.
Thank you. Board, we ready? Okay. Question number 4, what processes and procedures do you have for recruiting and retaining police personnel? What happens if the process is not successful?
Recruiting is a problem in all industries at this time, especially in the police business. You can talk to Jackson PD. I think they're like 40 officers short plus right now. They're continually losing and getting new police officers. And they pay an enormous amount of money in salaries to their officers. So money is not always the reason. You need to look for people. I believe police work is a cause. I don't believe it's just a job. If I thought it was just a job, I wouldn't have been here 27 years. I believe it's something that the Lord leads a lot of people to do. I believe I was led to be a police officer. I also believe that we need to look for people who want a career and not just a job. But this is a career. It's not something you come into and learn today. It's statistically true that an officer out of the academy, it takes 5 years to teach them to be a good patrol officer. It's not something you learn overnight. It's not something you learn after 400 or 500 hours of training at the police academy. You don't get the on-job training that you get once you get out here. I think we got to develop a calling to get people in here. We got to show them that we care about them. We've got to show them that we care about their training. We got to make them be the best that they can be and make them want to be the best they can be. We got to give them a good environment to work in. We've got to support them. We got to give them the tools to work with. And like I say, the education to work with, the training once they get here and teach them. If you give them the training and the opportunity to advance and the opportunity to do things, that helps a long way. But in my belief, money's not everything. Money goes a long way, I won't deny. Everybody wants more money. Everybody wants more money. But I know you've probably had jobs in your life that you probably made better money at, but you weren't happy there because the environment was not good. And that's what we got to do, to create an environment that our officers love. And I would work on that. And things to talk to them to find out. Talk to your people and find out what's going on. If the process is not successful, then you got to try something else. If you do something and it don't work, you don't just keep doing the same thing. It's not working. If the wheel's broke, you gotta fix it. You gotta do something different. We need to recruit, at this time, we need to recruit, a diversity of officers still. We need to recruit some Hispanic officers. We need people that speak Spanish. We've got other cultures moving into the city. We need to recruit people to fill those positions and give them a chance to advance and do the things that they need to do. That, the best thing I can say is that, I know everybody in the city that I talk to are begging for people to work, and we're in the same boat that everybody else is in. So we would try to reach out and find different ways that we can recruit, look for things that we can do. And hopefully if that didn't work, then we'd have to find something else to try to do.
Thank you. Often police chiefs are called to respond to an upset citizen about a complaint. If you are called to meet with a citizen to address a complaint, how would you go about leading this conversation?
There's always, the thing you've got to do when you're dealing with people who are upset is try to maintain your composure, number one. Number two, if it's an honest complaint, you need to sit down with that person and find out what their complaint is. Talk to them. Find out why they're complaining and what it involves. A lot of this depends on the type of complaint it is, as to what you can do. If it's a serious complaint, you got to investigate. You have to find out if it's factual. I know a lot of times I've seen people complain, and most of them are complaining because they did something they shouldn't do and they got caught at it sometimes. That happens. Not all people complain for that reason. Some people have honest complaints when they come in. But a lot of people complain on officers when the complaints are not true. We have body cameras now that everybody has that wears, and we have ways of investigating the complaints to make sure they're properly taken care of. Personally, as I was talking to them, I would try to maintain my composure. I would try to be calm. I would do my best to find out their perspective of the problem and maybe explain to them the perspective of the police department. So maybe we could come to a mutual agreement or an understanding. Because they're coming at it from one point of view and our officers are coming at it from a different point of view. So we need to come to the middle and come to an understanding. And if it is a violation of policy, or if our officers were wrong in what they did, I would have no problem at all in reprimanding them and doing what was necessary. And I would hope that our training and diversity training and things that we do would prevent a lot of this stuff from happening. So, I would be there to talk to any citizen that had a complaint. That's one of the main jobs of the police chief. Other than taking care of that, your job is to talk and find out what's going on. Because you can't be out there all the time and you don't really know what's going on because you're so busy with administrative work and things going on that you've got to take everything that's told to you serious until you investigate it and find out what's really going on.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Tony, this is the last question, so you can breathe a little bit. How will you build dedication and loyalty and boost retention among members of the police force? How would you build dedication and loyalty and boost retention among members of the police force?
Dedication and loyalty, that goes a long ways. I think the number one thing to build dedication and loyalty, that a leader has to lead by an example. I know when I was a sergeant on the street, I didn't stop writing tickets. I didn't stop taking complaints. I didn't stop working regs. I got out there with my men and I did it with them. When I was in the Marine Corps, that's the way I was taught. A leader, you don't lead by standing in the back. You lead by standing in front. You've got to get out and you've got to do the same thing that they would do. You've got to lead them by teaching them how to do it. You've got to be there with them And that's how you build loyalty. You build loyalty by people, by treating them right, giving them opportunity, and being the one that leads them. You can't lead sitting behind a desk all the time. You can't lead by sitting in an office doing paperwork all the time. You've got to get out with your men and work with them. You've got to do things for them. You've got to show them that you care for them. I mean, as a police chief, you're responsible for them. Every day they go out and do things that could cost them their lives, and it could cost a citizen their life. So you've got to build that trust in them and the public also. And that would boost retention if a lot of the guys, I think that's there, but I think they need to believe in their leaders. And if they know you're gonna have their back, they know that you're gonna lead them, they know that you're out there with them doing what they do, I think that goes a long ways. That's what a leader should be and should do. If they understand why you do what you're doing also, not just, you've got to tell them why you do stuff and what you do it for and why you're doing it. You've got to have open communication. I'm not saying your door's open where they come in and want to goof around with you for half a day, but I'm talking about communication where you actually sit down. You need to sit down with your men individually and talk to them and find out what their desires and aspirations are, where they want to be in 5 or 10 years, and see if you can help them obtain that. That's something you've got to do. I mean, we've got guys that are happy being a patrolman and will probably be glad to be a patrolman their whole career. We got guys that want to be sergeants. We've got to give them ways to obtain what they want. And we've got to find out that's how you obtain loyalty and dedication, by showing people that you really care about them and that you want them to advance and become the best that they can be.
Thank you. So, Mr. Williams, this ends the police chief for Humboldt interviews. And appreciate you coming in, and appreciate you thinking about us and having a desire to represent us and to take care of our community. I don't know next steps, but somebody will let you know next steps, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much. You can leave that right there. Mr. Tom, you can leave the paper. Yep. Okay.
Leave it on top.
Yes, that'd be fine. Thank you so much. I'll give you about 3 minutes to wrap up that. Ask.
Is everybody ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
We're ready.
Have a seat right there, be fine. This is Mr. Nick Mylan. You'll put that at the top of your applicant page, please. City, Mylan. Mhm. Tap it, brother. Mr. Mallon, I would like to share with you the process and how this will take place. And sometimes we want to start talking and introduce ourselves. You'll have that opportunity in question number one,
Okay.
so feel free to do that. So what we'll do is I'll ask you the questions as your moderator. I can only I can restate the question, I can't elaborate on it. You will have a copy right there when we start, so you'll have it in front of you, just in case you forget half of it or something to that effect. But again, I cannot change the content of it, because that wouldn't be fair to everybody, because I probably won't remember what I said to clarify that. So the questions are pretty cut and dry, okay? So at this time, if you're ready, we will start and then we'll go on. They will not ask you any questions, they won't comment, so if it looks like they're not paying you any attention, they are, they're just writing, okay? All right, so, Mr. Mylan, the first question is, tell us a little about yourself by stating your strongest personal attribute and how it will help you in this position.
My strongest attribute would be integrity. You know, integrity is doing something difficult, doing the right thing, and even when it's difficult. My hopes would be that by demonstrating integrity, that it will inspire other officers to follow my lead. You know, integrity and honesty will help reinforce the community's expectation of professional policing. I'll tell you a little story about integrity. I was working as a lieutenant with the sheriff department, and a bolo come out for my nephew. And my nephew was considered armed and dangerous. And at that time, I had a choice to make, and with my integrity and honesty, I picked up my nephew and I turned him in. And would I do it again? I say yes, because my nephew now is on the straight and narrow, and he's paid his debt to society.
Okay, anything else you want to add to that?
No.
No? Okay. Or, you ready? Okay. All right, Mr. Mullen, the second question. What are your thoughts and understanding regarding the concept of community policing? How would you adopt these practices in your role as chief of police?
You know, in the packet that I gave you, my choices is to be, as chief, have community policing. That's have officers engaging with the community. You know, I plan on having conducting neighborhood watches. You know, I plan on having town hall meetings. You know, I know y'all have aldermen, city council meetings where citizens get up at the end of the meeting, but I want it to be separate from that. I want the citizens to have a higher expectation for this police department. And as chief of police, I plan on practicing all types of community policing through my efforts.
Thank you. Okay. Police chiefs are responsible for preparing and operating budgets. What was the dollar amount of the last operating budget you prepared, And what was the budget savings or shortages at the end of the fiscal year? Elaborate, please.
As an investigator, I have not had the privy to conduct a budget. Therefore, my expectations for this budget would be to have, excuse me, the police department budget would be, I'm sorry, I lost the train of thought.
That's okay.
That's all.
Would you like for me to read it again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Police chiefs are responsible for preparing and operating budgets. What are the dollar amount of the last operating budget you prepared, and what was the budget savings or shortages at the end of the fiscal year? Elaborate, please.
Okay. Like I said first, I hadn't had the privy to operate a budget. But my expectations for the budget would be the personnel. Personnel will take over 80 to 95% of our budget. Outside of personnel, I plan to conduct a strategic analysis of current police services, demand for police services, and resources and community needs to help me make an informed decision on what should be added to the budget. I plan to take a cost-effective approach to ensure we are saving money when it is possible.
Thank you. Okay, board, you ready? All right, question number 4. What processes and procedures do you have for recruiting and retaining police personnel? What happens if the process is not successful?
Okay, on recruiting and retaining, this goes along with the budget. My plan is to have competitive compensation and benefits. You know, I hadn't did my research. I don't know what Humboldt officers make. But I'm pretty sure that we got neighboring counties and neighboring cities that make more than Humboldt police officers. But there's a reason why those officers stay, and that's the love for their job and the love for their city. You know, this will be, if selected, this will be one of the hardest decisions I had to make by leaving the Gibson County Sheriff Department. Because I genuinely love the Sheriff Department and I love the people that I work for. You know, use social media for recruiting. You know, there's all type of platforms that we can use. You know, there's people that live in Humboldt that work for other departments, such as Bolivar, Brownsville, that's a long drive away. But by using social media, they may say, hey, let's see what Humboldt has to offer. You know, create a mentoring program to get in these schools. You know, I know you got to be 21 to be a police officer, but there's nothing to say that by turning 18 you can go work at the jail, and turn 21 you can put in an application at the Humboldt Police Department and be a police officer. Now, if that process fails, we just go to another avenue, and we just keep on. You just keep on trying to recruit and retain.
Thank you. Okay. Next question. Alta police chiefs are called to respond to an upset citizen about a complaint. If you are called to meet with a citizen to address a complaint, how would you go about leading this conversation?
First off, I would meet with this citizen one-on-one. You know, I would be polite, be professional, and listen with empathy. You know, for example, I would tell that citizen, I see that you're upset and I see that you're angry. Let's see if I can offer a resolution and try to solve this problem. You know, my plan is to have an open door policy, and that would be for the city officials, my employees, and the citizens of Humboldt.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Nick, this is the last question, so you can breathe a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. How will you build dedication and loyalty and boost retention among members of the police force? How would you build dedication and loyalty and boost retention among members of the police force?
You know, if selected, my first thing to do would be to ask for an audit, and this audit would be for personnel and financial. You know, I can't fix a problem if I don't know what the problem is. You know, if selected, I'm afraid as chief, I would talk to these officers one-on-one. They will tell me what I want to hear instead of what I need to know. You know, I would focus on creating a supportive work environment. You know, strong leadership, opportunities for career advancements, having accountability, treating people fair, treating people with dignity and respect, all while having that officer's well-being and their families. You know, as leaders, we should demonstrate those qualities, those values through our officers, such as integrity, professionalism, and commitment to community service.
All right, thank you so much. Wrap up. So this concludes our questions for the position of police chief for the city of Humboldt. We thank you for deciding to come and interview with us and having our community and the lives of our family members in the community in your forefront. So we thank you. I don't know the next steps, but somebody will contact you with the next steps, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you could leave my questions for the next candidate. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Head of schedule, if the candidate is here, would you all like to go on, proceed? Okay. All right.
You ready?
Dr. Epperson, morning, how are y'all?
Yeah, sit right there, thank you. So, Mr. Kennedy, I'll share with you the process for today. I'm the moderator, and I will ask the questions, and we have provided you with a copy of the questions when we get ready to start. And I will just simply ask the questions. I can repeat the questions, I can't elaborate, I can't change the content because that wouldn't be fair to
Yes, ma'am.
everyone there. So what we'll do is we'll go through the questions. We'll give you an opportunity to share a little bit about yourself with the first question. So if you need to do that, you're more than welcome to do that instead of having that time to do it early, okay?
Okay.
Board, are we ready? Okay. So the first question is, tell us a little about yourself by stating your strongest personal attribute and how it will help you in this position.
Dedicated, I've been here with the Humboldt Police Department for 14 and a half years. I've been lucky enough to almost work every position here, going from patrol officer, drug task force, working many federal agencies with them, to coming back to criminal investigations division. I've had my whole career here, been dedicated, especially big cases. I'm one of the few that's ever developed a Vicar case for the Western District of Tennessee, which came out of this town. We learned that, through the Vicar, our town does have bigger stuff. And I'm dedicated to prosecuting those crimes fairly with our federal partners that we have. It takes dedication. I can't tell you the amount of hours we put in that case, prepping, attorneys from D.C., prepping United States attorneys from D.C. on these cases, spending weeks with them, telling them about what's going on, and eventually getting convictions. So it takes dedication for the job to be the chief of police of this agency.
Thank you. Looks like we're ready. Next question, what are your thoughts and understanding regarding the concept of community policing? How would you adopt these practices in your role as chief of police?
So one of the things I admire most about Jackson Police Department, or some friends I have that are on the Vice Unit that I met through Metro Narcotics, they have a grill team, and those guys do a great job. National Night Out, that's one thing I really want to see us do, is getting out in the community. One of the pet peeves the guys know that I have is don't be a shoulder and head cop. What I mean by that is driving around, they just see in your car. Get out and talk to people. Get out and interact with people. That's what I do best. I want us to do some type of national night out again, to get out in, 6th Street Park, Bailey Park, bring a grill out, hot dogs, come talk to us. Come out and see us. We're just people, that put a uniform on. And the people need to see us like that. We have families, we have things outside of work, but if the community can see us for who we really are, we're just the average Joe that's dedicated to this city.
Thank you. Okay, looks like we're almost ready. Police chiefs are responsible for preparing and operating budgets. What was the dollar amount of the last operating budget you prepared, and what was the budget savings or shortages at the end of the fiscal year? Elaborate, please.
So a budget that I prepared? So I can't say I've ever put together a budget by myself. Now, I have looked at the budget with Assistant Chief Ables and looked at it. I don't remember the exact number. I know it's over $1 million. Majority of that is for labor. I don't know if we had any savings. I know we were over on the overtime, but that's things that we can't avoid. What I mean by overtime is we were short-staffed for a little while, so we were paying officers overtime to work. Therefore, it was officer safer to be on the street with just 1 or 2 officers on the street. We had to have more officers on there. As we hire officers, there's a wait list for the academy. So therefore, they're not certified. They have to ride for almost 6 months to 7 months. Well, that's somebody that we're having to pay while they're riding and training, and then send them to the academy. Once they're certified, they can be on their own. What I'd like to see us do is try to advertise to certified officers get hired in. Make Humboldt a place we want officers to come to work. And we can do that by doing different things, such as like 12-hour shifts where the officers are off every other weekend, where they're home with their family more. When you look at advertisements of law enforcement agencies throughout West Tennessee, the majority going to 12-hour shifts. That way the officers are getting off every other weekend with their families. Right now, the only person that's off on weekends are the lieutenants on shift. That means the sergeants, patrolmen work every Saturday and Sunday. They don't get any time off with the family. So they leave to go to other agencies, which causes our overtime budget. That's something that we have to correct and figure out a way to do it. That would help us dramatically and reduce our overtime. That eats a lot of our budget. But we gotta have the men and women here that wanna stay at Humboldt and work.
Thank you. What processes and procedures do you have for recruiting and retaining police personnel? What happens if the process is not successful?
So, I'm blessed enough when I worked at Drug Task Force, I met with a lot of chiefs, and I've seen a lot of different departments. I've seen how they run. Everywhere from Jackson, Gibson County, Milan, Trenton. I even went down to Memphis, working down there with Shelby County when I was Drug Task Force going down there. So you kind of see how every other agency operates. So if we can take a little bit of each one and make Humboldt better as an agency, that's what we should do. What I mean by that is, one, 12-hour shifts, right? Get these guys home more with their family. Also, recruiting. We have a great, you can look on Facebook and look at all the recruiting that other departments are doing and see how they are doing it. We need to advertise more on these spots that are available and try to, because we are competing against other departments. We interview people and they tell us, well, we put in for Jackson or Madison County. And sometimes we just can't compete with them, and we need to get there. For us to retain officers, we have to advertise, one. We have to list what our benefits are and have a competitive pay. And what a lot of officers are looking for are the 12-hour shifts, home every other weekend. That's the biggest thing I hear. And I hear when officers go to it, they absolutely love it, that they're home more, they're with the family. If the process is not successful, we look at a different route. And we look at what is working for other agencies. Reach out. You know, we can call, because you look at Milan, and the guys hate me for this because I refer to Milan PD a lot. I call Chief Sellers. What's working for Milan? Why can't that work here? Or why can't, Chief Couson and Trenton, why can't what they're doing work here? Or Chief Aller and Medina. What works so good for them? And take ideas from around here and implement them in Humboldt.
Thank you. Looks like we're ready. Okay. Often police chiefs are called to respond to an upset citizen about a complaint. If you are called to meet with a citizen to address a complaint, how would you go about leading this conversation?
Obviously, I'd introduce myself first to them, who I am, what my role in the department is, and also ask them what their complaint is. Listen to people. Hear what they have to say. As a chief of police, you are the figurehead of the department. So when there is a complaint and they wish to speak to the chief has a right to or not to talk to him, but if he wishes to talk to him, he can talk to him about that, whoever the chief is. But I believe that the community has a right to say, hey, chief, I'd like to talk to you about something. Have an open ears. Listen to it. That's what I would do.
Thank you. All right, Kenny, this is the last question, so you can breathe a little.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How will you build dedication and loyalty and boost retention among members of the police force? How will you build dedication and loyalty and boost retention among members of the police force?
So I've always said, any position I've been in, whether I was the ASAC of the task force or the acting SAC, be the boss you want to work for. Be somebody you can look up to. Somebody that supports you and someone that encourages you. But also, the dedication and loyalty, we got to have functions as a police department, whether it's a cookout or we're at training and in service, we're having something together, joke around with each other. We had training today on firearms and the guys were having fun, joking around. And in-house training isn't just for, it is for training, don't get me wrong, but it's also for the guys to communicate, talk to each other. You're there for 8 hours for training, and then sometimes you're having to work a 16-hour shift right after that. It's kind of a time for you to relax, learn something, also interact with your brothers and sisters that are there working with you. Because ultimately, we got to have loyalty among each other. We got to have dedication, because if we don't have dedication, people just leave the police department and go to other agencies. We got to have that. We want them to retain here and stay here. Because in my mind, this is the best place to work. I've been here 14 and a half years. And so for me, we just need to do, more things like that. Whether it's a Christmas dinner, inviting everybody over, if the shifts want to have their own little thing, go out to eat at Buffalo Wild Wings, support each other. That's the biggest thing is they need to know that they have also a chief that is dedicated for them, training. And I believe, if I had a boss at the task force, if you were a hard worker, you got to go to training. I got the experience of going to Quantico, Virginia for training, to the DEA Academy. That was the highlight of my career, me and my ex-partner. They flew us from Nashville to Quantico just for training for 1 week. That was free, provided for us. Guys get excited over training. That's a loyalty thing. That's a dedication. You give them good training, they will stay. I had the chance of going to TBI headquarters for training. I've had the opportunity of things that I'm gracious for that I got through Humboldt in the task force that's led me through my career and helped me through my career. So I think just little things like that will help with the dedication, loyalty boost, and retention. Because if officers are seeing that they're getting high quality training that works and they see that, there's a place that's free called RCTA, Regional Counter Drug Training Academy. I can't tell you how many classes I went down there for. 100% free, paid by the government. They even pay your meals and housing. They bring in people, when I did a search warrant class, they brought in the California Bureau of Narcotics to teach DEA. I had a surveillance class where we literally drove over 400 miles learning how to surveil people, ex-DEA agents. These are the classes that the guys can go to that are free. Only thing we pay is gas and salary. Class is free. And it's open to us. I got Grace to Survival down there. It's good stuff that we have, and that will help dedicate and loyalty boost among our department.
Thank you. So as I wrap up the writing, just want to say thank you. That ends our questions for the position of police chief for Humboldt. And thank you for coming out and caring enough about serving in this capacity, taking care of our community and our people. I don't really know next steps, but somebody will inform
Yes,
you
ma'am.
of next steps. But we thank you for coming.
Yes, ma'am. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Evers.
Thank you.
Leave here and make sure everybody's got. you'll, make sure you have all your sheets and the name of the applicant at the top and your name at the bottom. That's correct? Yes. And you give these to.
Give them to me, and then somebody will have to tell me who to give them to, because remember, this is just a meeting for the interview,
Yeah.
nothing else, okay? And then I will, do I deliver those to the mayor's office in the morning? Do I count them, do I tally?
You should tally.
I think you would tally them
Tally 'em.
and,
Tally.
rank them.
Oh, and
Yeah, I think you're tallying them.
I think that was what we agreed upon,
Yeah,
was
we-
to tally and
We
rank,
wanted,
and then,
yeah, we wanted her to
And then-
tally
and then they'll come to,
them. She can give them to
we'll have them
we have another meeting for
at the next board meeting, I assume.
that and give them all commission.
Our next meeting is what, 14th of
What's today's date?
October?
Yeah.
Miss Tammy, I got yours. Miss Tammy.
I'm only in charge for this meeting, nothing else,
Yeah,
okay?
yours.
Oh, you
In
want
the
that?
folder. Yes, I would like that ball down.
Okay, that's hers. Yeah, this is hers.
You get what?
Right here, put my pencil away. I've got, a moment.
So, who's that?
This one, it was an extra one in there.
I'm gonna keep the extra one. Oh, they're all up there.
Okay. This is mine.
Since this was the only thing on the agenda, there will be no other business to come for this, special call meeting. Do we have a, motion to adjourn? Well, first of all, thank you, Dr. Epperson,
Thank
for,
you.
providing us as a moderator. We thank you to the three candidates who came in and talked with us, and, is there a motion to adjourn? Tammy has made the motion, and Monty has made the second. Anybody not in favor, just stay here.